America as a result of his national radio spot that appears regularly on hundreds of radio stations and is heard by millions of people in a show called Your Daily High with Andy Greenberg. His book, Your High, sold 5 times the average for a first book signing. And I'm sure he can tell you how to get one of his books, or this book, excuse me. Andy has 35 years experience with national companies as a sales and marketing expert, and whose main strength is motivating associates and friends to visualize and attain success. His accomplishments include managing the marketing of several 60 million, Andy? 60 million. Whoa, I almost screwed that up. 60 million businesses, creating and launching 12 new products and rebranding a national company. He has won several national awards, quoted in USA Today, Associated Press, Inc. Magazine, Omaha World Herald, Strictly Business Magazine, and Business Midlands Journal, Business to Business Magazine, and in various local news broadcasts. He's married for 42 years, visited 76 countries, God bless you, all 50 states and every major league ballpark. I like that. 2 World Series games, 1 All-Star, and Home Run Derby. His sales career started by selling shoes door to door in New York City at age 18. Now you know the connection. All right, we're both East Coast guys. Although active in speaking and training for over 11 years, in July 2009, he started Speaking of Andy Greenberg, a life and business building based company that through presentations, seminars, consulting, and coaching, he shares and teaches individuals and businesses how to stay motivated and excel in sales, marketing, leadership, networking, and customer service in life. 3 months later, Getting Up with Andy Greenberg was featured on Omaha's most listened to daily radio show, The Good Morning Show, with Gary Saddlemeyer, I believe, right, on 1110 KFAB. The segment provides daily innovative insights on keeping motivated all day. Over 700 vignettes have been created to date. The show went national one and a half years later. He also has been voted the 4th best dressed in Omaha. That's awesome. That is awesome. And I'm going to get out of the way now.
Before I begin, I need to apologize. We're supposed to be here today, and my profession is motivational speaking. But I got to share with you what happened to me today, and yesterday for that matter. I have an automobile, and my car gave me some problems. I bring it to the dealer, and the dealer tells me, hey, I've got good news for you. We can fix your car. Terrific. $1,785. He adds, it's unfortunate, Mr. Greenberg, that your service warranty expired 3 weeks ago. Now, it's been very hot today. Went home, air conditioner doesn't work. Call up my air conditioning people. They look at it, and they said, Mr. Greenberg, I've got some bad news for you. Air conditioner no longer works. We can't fix it. We'd be thrilled to install a new one for you for $5,000. And he looks at my record and he says, geez, it's a shame you didn't renew your service contract 3 months ago, because we would have replaced it for free. And then I had this major speech I was going to be giving in Washington, D.C. Anybody ever hear of the sequester? They canceled it. So I know we're here tonight to get motivated. I'm going to try my best. But if I don't succeed, please accept my apology in advance. So on a Monday morning, or any time that you see somebody and somebody says to you, what's new? What's the first thing you tell them? Everything bad? Or everything good? You see, it was a very interesting thing that just happened here. I'm about to tell you all these things that happened to me. And I was looking around the room. Now, on the first one, everybody felt sorry for me. Understand. On the second one, you started looking at yourself and saying, I got to listen to this guy for an hour? I'm supposed to be motivated. He's depressing me. And then I actually saw on the third one or two of you looking for your checkbook. To just give me a little check to help me out. You see, what's interesting in life is misery loves company. And the moment you heard about my misery, you began to identify with it. Because these are stories that you tell. These are stories that people tell you, and they affect your mood. Now, I will tell you that everything I just told you is not true. But I wanted to show you what happens. Because in life, misery loves company. And we're going to be talking about motivating your minds for a better life. And we're going to be taking it step by step, individualizing it, personalizing it, because we're going to examine misery versus success. Everybody see the two Z's I've got up there? Because what does misery do? It puts you to sleep. It doesn't give you any energy. It doesn't give you any enthusiasm, and it puts everybody to sleep because misery looks for company to confirm that it's not alone. Misery is a victim. Everything I just said to you earlier, if it was true, I didn't do anything. These things happen to me. We become victims, and we become the people that say, it's not my fault. Bad luck just happens to come to me. Not necessarily true. Because when good things happen, they happen because of success. They happen because we make them happen. They happen because we visualize them to occur. And all too often, we visualize failure. Because when we are passionate about what we do, we're successful. When we're depressed about what's happening to us, we fail. Now, each and every one of us, including me, has had true problems in their life. 3 times I was called into my boss's office. 3 times they said, hey, there's a downsizing. You've been downsized. Hey, thanks for your 24 and a half years. We appreciate it. Have a nice life. It happens. But we get a chance to move up and really do something that we're passionate about. Because success is a goal, and misery is an outcome of negative thoughts. Yes, when I lost my job after 24 and a half years, and the other one afterwards after 2.5 years, I could have walked around totally miserable. Did I? Absolutely not. You know what my friends did? They called me up and they said the following, Andy, if there's one person that we're not concerned about, it's you. Because you always have a bright outlook. And when you have a bright outlook, good things happen. And I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to separate everybody by number. Please pay attention so you know what number you're at. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay? Right here's number 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You got me. 1, 2. So here's the exercise. Number 1. I want you to turn to number 2. And in 1 minute, tell them everything that's miserable about your life. Everything that went wrong. Don't hold back.
Whose turn to me?
We're amongst friends. Just say everything that you want to get off your chest that's absolutely miserable and horrific about your life. We've got 1 minute.
I'm a 2.
On your mark,
Okay.
get set, go.
I got
Okay, what is that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm jobless. I've been jobless
There you go.
for almost about 11 months. My finances, obviously, I have been living off my savings for 10 of those 11 months, and I finally broke down and my priorities.
Oh, no, really?
Which I did not want to do. That was very hard for me because
All right, 15 seconds. 15 seconds.
But now I'm able to tithe again.
And 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, silence. So, silence. Silence. Young lady, silence. We're done. Okay.
She has a lot of challenges. No.
Number 2s, how do you feel after hearing his stories?
You know, empathy.
Not very good.
Empathy.
Sure. How do you feel?
I feel like it's a different life than I ever even came close
Sure.
to, so very different.
Sure. And how do you feel being a number 2 here in that story?
I think empathy is part of it too,
Yeah. Does anybody feel good after hearing somebody else's
No.
story?
I feel down.
No. No, you do? Okay.
You'll
I felt
You're
good
an
about
person.
yours because my mower
encouraged.
Oh, okay. All right, so you had less misery than me, but before you heard my story, you thought 130 was pretty bad. So everything's relative. So you know what I discovered recently? I discovered that there are not enough motivational speakers in this world. There aren't. And I'm going to turn each and every one of you into a motivational speaker. Part 2 of the exercise. Number 1's turn to number 2 and tell number 1's every blessing that you've had in your life. Everything that's absolutely terrific in your life. Everything that you're proud of. Everything that you take a lot of pride in. Everything that you're enthusiastic and energetic about. You've got 1 minute to share all the wonderful things, all the wonderful things in your life.
I know.
Number 1's to number 2's, okay? Here we go. On your mark, get set, go.
Passionate about your
I enjoy working with people. There's passion working with people as well. I'm like you. I enjoy
And 10
the
seconds.
smallest blessing the Lord has given me so large. It's all blessings.
And 5, and 4, 3, 2, 1, silence.
Okay.
There she goes again. Silence. All right, now I'm going to start with number 2's on this side of the room. Who's number 2's? Raise your hands, please. How do you feel now, sir? That you've heard the good news.
Oh, I'm number 1.
How do you feel?
Good. I mean, we all have assets. We may not realize we have them.
Aha.
You have assets.
Good point. I was looking for that point. Terrific. How do you feel?
I feel hopeful.
Yeah, feel pretty good, right?
Positive, yeah.
Sure. Mike, you're number 2?
No, she was. I
How do you
apologize.
feel?
encouraged,
Yeah.
blessed from hearing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And sir, how do you feel?
I was the number 2.
You were number. How do you feel?
Pretty upbeat.
Yeah. Congratulations. You're all motivational speakers. You see what you've been able to do? You took yourself and somebody else who previously, a moment ago, was in a horrific, horrible mood, depressed, empathy, feeling bad, and all you did in the next minute was talk about good things. Good things about yourself, which probably increased your self-confidence, your self-esteem, allowed you, as you mentioned before, to pull out from your mind all the great stuff that's good about your life. And in this room, you made everybody happy, because if you were up here, you could listen to the tone of the conversation the first time, which was kind of low and didn't want to share it much with you and didn't speak very fast, shoulders were down, oh boy. But the second time, that chatter, the energy, the enthusiasm was contagious. So each and every one of you, right now, have earned a certificate in motivational speaking. Because what do? What is speaking? Speaking is when you talk to yourself. And if you talk about the lousy things that have happened in your life, you've proven what effect that has. When you talk about the great things that happen in your life, either a one-on-one conversation or just standing up here, then what happens? You start feeling good. That's all that it takes. If I would have told you that in advance, you would have said, hey, it's full of baloney, it's a bunch of theory. But the moment you practiced it, the moment you tried it, you began to see that on your own. Because in this world, there are 3 types of people. I will tell you the first 2, and then I will ask you to tell me who the third one is. Are you ready? The first person is, there are those that make things happen. Those are successful people. There are those that watch things happen. They're the followers. They watch everybody else. What do you think the third one is?
Don't care.
Don't care? Okay, good one. What else? What else? There are those that make things happen. There are those that watch things happen. Yes?
Make things worse.
Makes things worse. Okay, but yeah, all right, I'll take that. This is not necessarily what I'm looking for, but I'll take it. That's a valid answer. But here is really the third one. Here we go. There are those that make things happen. There are those that watch things happen. There are those who have absolutely no idea what's going on. And that's the misery. That's the victim. Now, I have good news for you. If you are in this group right here, that you are the ones that have absolutely no idea what's happening, you get to move up one level. It's good. You bottomed out. Congratulations. It is great to bottom out. It is. Because you got no lower to go. You've reached the bottom. Congratulations. That's fantastic. Now, once you are those that watch things happen, all of a sudden you get involved. All of a sudden you become visualized. All of a sudden you get to share the success and maybe the failure of others, but that's okay. You follow it. And then if you are a follower, I've got good news for you. You get to rise up one level to those that make things happen. And we're going to discuss that. We're going to show you examples of people that made things happen. And by the way, if you are already one of those that make things happen, do you get to move up?
You are already up.
Here's the beauty. You get to help those
Help others.
that make things happen, that follow things, and those that have no idea what's going on. What a tremendous place to be in life.
That's where you are.
Where you can teach, where you can guide, where you can motivate, where you can inspire, where you can be part of someone else's improvement in life. It's a great position. Now, I'm not going to ask you which one you think you are in right now. That's your own personal choice. But whichever one you're in, I want you to erase it from your mind and say to yourself, I'm about to go up to the next level. If you are one of those that have absolutely no idea what's happening, move up to watch others. If you are one of those that are watching others, move up to the ones that make it successful. Because there are a lot of people that have had failure in their life, that have been told that nothing will ever work for them, that have been told that they have absolutely no skills. Who's the first one? Katie Couric was told she would never succeed by the president of CNN. By the way, CNN today is the least watched news on television. Okay? But follow the career of Katie Couric. The Today Show, CBS. Now she's got her own show. You know what she told this particular person by her actions? Watch me. I'm not going to use the vulgarity she had in her mind, but watch me. You have no right to tell me what I cannot do. You can have an opinion, but you cannot have influence. You can share your opinion with me, and that'll motivate me. That's what I want each and every one of us to do. Each and every one of us. When someone has told us, you will not succeed, you know what you tell them? Hey, thanks a lot for your opinion. Watch me. And in your mind, use whatever vulgarities that come to your head that you feel are appropriate, depending upon your own personal lifestyle. Here's another one, Randy Travis, who was just taken to the hospital today. Randy Travis was turned down by every record company in Nashville, Tennessee. Not just one, every single one of them. How many times have you been turned down from something? Quite a few.
Oh, yeah.
And what do you do in your mind? Do you listen to these bobos? Yeah. Should you? No. What do they know about you? They make decisions based on their influences. They make decisions based on the way they perceive things. They don't have a right to make a decision about you unless it's positive. So when someone says something negative about you, hey, thank you very much for your opinion. Watch me prove you wrong. On my terms, not yours. Does it work? Oh yeah, many times. Does it work every time? No. I'm not going to tell you it does. And if it doesn't, you're going to stop? Absolutely not. How many of us drive in Omaha traffic? Yeah, horrible thing, isn't it? You're driving somewhere, you've got a destination, you know where you want to go, and then all of a sudden you become a victim. Why? There's that traffic. Uh-oh, they're right in front of my destination. I have no control. I'm a victim. Now, when that happens, how many of you say to yourselves the following? You know what? There's an obstacle. I am going to take the next exit. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go back to bed and roll up in a cocoon. How many of us do that? No. But the moment an obstacle comes our way from a goal that we want to achieve, just the first time, how many of us say, I quit? And figuratively go home and roll up in bed and go in a cocoon because you tried once and it failed. Once in a while, we all do that. But we shouldn't. We should take a lesson from the traffic that we're in. We never quit. We know that destination. We know what lies there in that destination. We plan for that destination. Whether it's visiting a family member, whether it's going to an interview, whether it's going to work, or whether it's going home or a sporting event, it doesn't matter. You will get there no matter what. Maybe late. And that's the same methodology I want you to have in everything in your life. That's what Randy Travis did. My favorite. Anybody ever see the show Baywatch? And notice nobody raises their hands except for one man. But we all nodded.
Jeff Kwan?
Okay. Not lately. Not lately. Okay. It's the craziest thing in the world. Baywatch was canceled after its first year. NBC, it was CBS, called David Hasselhoff in and said, "Take your show and get out." What did he do?
He tortured us for many years.
A little louder. He tortured us for 2 years.
2 more years.
Yeah. So what did he do? He went to another network. He says, "Hey, I got a great show for you. I tested it on one. I'm going to make some improvements, and now it's going to be a great show." At its height, it was the most watched show in the world.
What?
Wow.
Really?
Not in the United States. In the world.
Pamela Anderson.
I'm sorry, who I'm not familiar with. If you show me a picture, I might remember. David Hasselhoff. He said, "Right now, I'm going to show you." Each and every one of us learn from that, because these are the people that made it happen. These weren't the people that were the followers. These weren't the people that said to themselves, "I'm a victim. It's never going to work." These are our role models. These are the ones that should drive us to every bit of success that we deserve. Somebody asked me earlier about these 3 eggs. These 3 eggs, believe it or not, these 3 eggs represent your life. They do. They do. It's hard to imagine. No, I'm not going to juggle. I'm going to throw them. Some of you will worry. He's going to stand over and juggle. No. But it represents your life. Why? Question. How many of us on a Saturday or Sunday morning go to the restaurant for breakfast, and on the menu it says, 3 eggs, any style? How many of us have seen that on the menu? Sure. Now, question. Do you like scrambled or fried?
Say scrambled.
Scrambled. Once in a while, you have a little problem there making up your mind. Maybe once in a while the fried.
Sure.
Sure. Have you ever thought about ordering 2 scrambled and 1 fried? See, the menu says 3 eggs, any style. Does it say 3 eggs, same style? No. So you have the right, obligation, to get the eggs and life the way you want it. Now, I've done this for many years in many different restaurants. And you know what they say? That's very creative, Amy. Wow, that's the way to read the menu. And by the way, that's indicative of the way I read life. Because I just don't look at things literally. I look at things for the opportunities that they bring me by just decoding the messages that are right in front of me. So one of your challenges, and I will call each and every restaurant in Omaha, Nebraska, and I will ask for a physical description and name, starting this evening, of everybody that goes to a restaurant, doesn't have to be a Saturday or Sunday, asks for 3 eggs the way they want them. And I want you to try that. Because when you do, it will change the way you look at life. It will change the decisions you make about life. It'll change the way you perceive what you deserve in life. Because guess what? If you don't ask for it, you're not going to get it. When you ask for it, not if, when you ask for it, you get it. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, you know, I'd asked for it, I never got it. You can't quit once. How many of you know how to use a hammer and a nail? Yeah, now let me ask you this question, sir, if I may. Let's say you've got a big piece of wood. You've got 1 nail, and you've got the hammer. And you take the hammer and you hit the nail on the head the first time. Does it go in the first time?
Not for me.
No. Do you walk away and quit?
No.
No. How many times do you knock it until it goes in?
5 or 6.
Until it's finished. Never quit. That's another lesson I want everybody to realize. It takes more than 1 hammer shot at a nail to get into that piece of wood. It takes more than one time to ask what you deserve. Don't quit until the job is finished. And then when the job is finished, what do? You smile, you go on to the next one, and you say, what's next? I handled this one pretty well. I didn't quit. I'm not a quitter. I know how to do it. That's the 3 eggs any style. Pun intended. Step out of the shell. Crack yourself up. And others. When you try that. And if you're hesitant to try it, don't be. Because what's the worst thing that can happen to you? Nothing. I'm sorry?
I said the cook could get mad at you.
Yeah, the cook could get mad. So what? No, they're not going to destroy your food or anything else like that. No question about it. Or the cook will learn a lesson. Now, why will the cook learn a lesson? Because cooks have different recipes for the same thing. And you've taught them in their head, because they have variety in everything, right? You've taught them to add variety to their life. So you've actually done this guy a favor when you do it that way. Another exercise. How many of us in this room are out-of-the-box thinkers? Please raise your hands. Great. We have an exercise to prove it. What I'd like everybody to do, please, and that's everybody, to take a pencil and paper and draw a box. And this is an out-of-the-box thinking exercise. I want everybody to draw a box, please. Draw a box. All right. Now wait for everybody, out-of-the-box thinkers. Here we go. Second and last part of the exercise, what I would like everybody to do, please, is either by using the same box or a different box, draw something artistically that is representative of thinking out of the box. Draw something that is representative of thinking out of the box. And by the way, don't look at somebody else's paper. I see the eye shifting already. Just your own work. Your own work. Draw something that artistically is representative of thinking out of the box. Let's see what we have here. We have a box and a stick person, very popular.
Oh.
We have someone still being pensive. We have sunshine. Oh, the brain. Okay, got it. All right, we've got a box there. Okay, good. And we have a box, and we're still drawing. We have a box, good. And we've got, ooh, nice box with circles, psychedelic stuff coming out of it. We have the infamous clouds of the cartoon things. I love that. We have a triangle, different way of thinking, with an exclamation mark. And we have a, what is that?
It's the box blown open on the side.
Ah, okay, so we blew up the box. Okay, I got it. Good, thinking out. He's got an arrow there. We've got that going there. Almost, almost. Let's see, good. We have somebody playing with a computer in the box, okay? Good, we got the infamous stick man. That's usually the number one that I see is a stick man. Very good. Stars, good. The stick man. Boy, all you guys qualify for the matchbook the tree. Very nice. Trunk of the tree, I got it. Because a box is made out of paper, and paper comes from a tree. I get the association. Good. That's good. That's good. All right.
He definitely helped you out there. Thanks, Andy.
That makes you even more impressive.
Now, question. And here's my question. When you go to the supermarket and you see an individual taking ketchup out of a box, what does that box look like? I'm sorry?
I can't envision the ketchup out of a box.
Oh, a can of tuna or a can of peas or beans. It's sections. Good start. What else? Visualize that box for a moment. It's torn. Okay, you're almost there. What else?
It's paper.
It's paper. Good. What else? What else does that box look like?
It's got an opening on the side where you can reach in and grab.
Yeah, the box is open. So here we have an exercise called thinking out of the box. And how can we possibly think out of the box if, with the exception of one person, everybody drew a box that was closed? This individual drew a box where the flaps are open.
So you tell he's an attorney, right?
That is indicative of thinking out of the box. You can't be out of the box thinkers if your box is closed. I don't care how good looking the stick man or woman is. It doesn't work.
But my box didn't have a lid.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You were still drawing it when he went around.
There's no lid, it's open. It's an open box.
Okay, if you believe that, I'm not going to dispute it. It looks like a closed box, but that's okay. All right. But in reality, this is the way it's supposed to be. But for the reason that only one person drew it this way, I don't believe in thinking out of the box. Here's what I do believe. I believe in putting new and creative ideas into the box, thus covering up what's already there. Now, what do I mean by that? How many of us, maybe 15, 20 years ago, had a Sony Walkman or a Sony Discman? Please raise your hands. Great. Do you remember how much you paid for yours?
I don't know, $60, $70.
See, boy, you paid too much. Usually about $35. And we had the $10 headphones. And we had our 4 or 5 favorite CDs, and we were happy. We were all happy. How many of us today use a Sony Walkman or Sony Discman? Now, you know where I'm going. Well, you do. Okay.
Here's a guy who left the box open.
With one exception. Every one of us has traded that in. And many of us now are the proud owners of an iPod that we paid 5 times more for. And we would not be seen with this iPod with a $10 set of headphones. Forbid it. Can't happen. We have $150 headphones that we run around with. Some of us have more because we have something called noise canceling. What does this prove? And here's the lesson. The good folks at Sony and everybody else had this here. Apple came by and said, I'm going to put a new and creative idea into the box, thus covering up and obsoleting it and making it worthless. Everything that you've done in your life up to this point has been terrific. You might not believe that, but it's true. One of the things I want you to think about from this point on is, what are you going to put on top of it? What additional skills are you going to get? What additional talents are you going to go out and seek? What additional opportunities, like the 3 eggs any style, are right in front of you, but we haven't had the opportunity nor the open-mindedness to take advantage of it. That's the key of understanding the beauty of what life has in front of you. Forget what's behind you. You can't go back in the past and change it. Time machines don't exist that way. But there is a time machine that will transport you into the future. That time machine is right here. Because you can dial in what you want to be. And when you plan for it, and when you believe in it, it'll happen. Our brains are time machines. Anything that you want, program it. The only thing you have to do, the only secret is, you have to believe that it'll happen for you. Because the minute you don't, it won't. And that has been proven time and time again. Thank you very much. That has been proven time and time again in anything that we do. Because I guarantee you, each and every one of us who has recently lost our job, that probably went through our head while we were working. Are we going to be next? Is it going to happen to me? It might. The moment we plant that in our heads, I hate to tell you this, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The moment we put into our heads success, I'd love to tell you, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Remember that exercise we did before, thinking good, thinking bad, telling people our good stuff and bad stuff? Same thing. You think good, good will happen. You think bad, bad will happen. That's what the exercise is of thinking out of the box. Very, very important. So how many of us have done something that, or try to do something, and someone asks us to do it, and we say, you know what, that's impossible. I can't do it. Won't be done. Show of hands when you've said to somebody or someone said to you, and you've heard the word impossible? Yeah, so absolutely. When I was 12 years old, I was a classic stutterer. A classic stutterer. The worst. In classrooms, I wouldn't say a thing. I was not sociable at all. This is the way I used to speak. But that was me. And people would ask me, what do you want to do when you grow up? I said 2 things, actually 3. I want to be a salesperson, I want to be a corporate executive, and I want to be a public speaker. They laughed. Hard. You can't do that. That's impossible. You're a stutterer. You can't go up in front of thousands of people or be on TV or be on the radio every day. It's never going to happen for you. And you know what I said to them? Watch me. Did I go to a speech pathologist? No. Did I understand what caused my stuttering problems finally? Yes. Did I resolve them on my own? Yes. Did it take me a while? Yes. Did I let it stop me? No. And here I am. Anything that you want to accomplish, all you have to do is think about it. Anything that you want to accomplish. Because in reality, there is nothing that is impossible. At one point or another, we all thought today's modern achievements were impossible. The cell phone that keeps on buzzing me. 50 years ago, would we ever think it's possible to have a cell phone? No. And I recently read something that in the 1920s, there was another major invention that changed people's lives, aside from the cell phone. Anyone want to guess what that is? We all have it now. We take it for advantage. As a matter of fact, just about everybody in this room is wearing it right now. Not everybody is, but most of them still are. Yeah, the wristwatch. The wristwatch became possible in 1920. What did people do before 1920 to tell the time? There were clocks on towers and buildings all over, and that's the way you found out what time it was. And somebody finally said, you know what, we're going to take this big clock and put it on people's wrists. What do you think the world said? No way. No way. Now we got it. There is nothing that's impossible. Nothing. A while back, 72 home runs. Well, I got to change that. I got to put an asterisk because the guy was using some enhancements. 8 gold medals in swimming. $1 billion box office movies. Nobody ever thought that this was ever possible. Ever! By the way, anybody ever hear about the 4-minute mile? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 4-minute mile is interesting. It was about 15 years ago that if anybody ran a mile in 4 minutes, they were fantastic. If you run a 4-minute mile today, you're a nobody. You're in last place. What once was impossible is today modern. I remind myself that in 1963, I went to the World's Fair in New York City where I lived, and General Electric had this carousel that they had at the World's Fair. Remember that?
Yes.
And it was the most modern achievement in the world because you could sit in one chair and this thing would go around displays. And you know what they displayed in 1963? A modern kitchen. A kitchen with a television. A kitchen with the fanciest washers and dryers. A kitchen that had a fast freeze freezer. All of which was coming into the future. And by the way, you can still visit that GE carousel today in New York City. And you know what they have on top? It's a museum. It's a museum. Because everything that was impossible in those days are now antiques and archaic. And that's the same thing with us. What is the secret of people doing impossible things? Very simple. By the way, do we have any English teachers in this room? Because I'm about to butcher the English language. Good. Impossible. Let's take a look at that word and say the following. I am. What do you think the next word is?
Possible.
Possible. I am possible. Every time you say the word impossible, or somebody says that to you, thank them. Hey, thanks a lot for telling me that. You know what? I am possible. I appreciate that. Do I use that? You bet. Everything I put up here I use. I am possible. It can be achieved. It could be done. It was read earlier in my introduction that I've been to 76 countries. 76 countries. Let me tell you how that happened. Very, very simple. I met Carol, my wife, the day I turned 15. And I always look at her as a present from upstairs, with a no-return policy and a lifetime warranty. We dated very heavily in New York City. We were the it item in high school, as we are today, thank God. And here's what happened. We went on dates on Friday nights, and ladies, I was not spending a lot of money on a date as a 16-year-old. What we did is we went to Kennedy International Airport, and I put a dime in the parking meter. That was the entire cost of my date. I told her it was cheap. She's saying, oh my God, how could she possibly go out with this guy? I'd never go out with him. That's in her head. And you're right. So what did we do for the 10 cents? We went up to the customs area long before TSA. And what they did was people would come in from foreign countries, which back in those days, I'm aging myself, which back in those days was a big thing. You come in from a foreign country, foreign travel, it's great stuff. And we would see these people go through their luggage. And they would find contraband. And they would slam them on the floor, they would handcuff them, and drag them away. And you know as well as I do, there was a reality show today with the exact same thing, we'd all be watching it. That's the way people are. We went there every Friday night. One Friday night, Carol looks up at me with her sweet, innocent, 16-year-old eyes. And she says, Andy, are we ever going to travel internationally? I had two ways to answer that question. No, because I am a non-aggressive individual. I don't go after things that I want. So, you know, sorry about that, honey. It ain't going to happen. Or, yes, Carol, stick with me. We will travel internationally. And that's what I told her. And by the way, I remember that as if it happened yesterday. Well, fast forward. At that time, she didn't know that we were going to get married. I did. But it took me 5 years. We finally got married. Moved to California, and then after 9 years in California, I got a job that required a lot of travel. And almost to the day when I stepped on my first airplane, United Airlines came out with frequent flyer miles. And to this moment, I collected over 3 million frequent flyer miles. Now, I've taken her to 76 countries. Every one of them was free. Because in that promise, I never told her I'd pay for those trips. But the point is, I had a goal. And I found a way to make it happen. The Major League ballparks, that was my goal. I found a way to make it happen. By the way, when somebody's born, and you're hanging upside down and the doctor is holding your ankles, when they slap you on the behind, do they say, success, next, failure, next, success, next, failure, failure, failure? Of course not. We're the ones that determine our own success. We're the ones that determine our own failure just by solving this problem. So I want to show you how this works. And this is the only hokey exercise, well, I'll take it back. One of the two hokey exercises we're going to do tonight. I'm going to separate this room, and from Mike's right, everybody on this room is on this side is group 1, you're in group 1, everybody on this side is group 2. Okay, hopefully I got it right. Here's what I want to have happen. We're going to do this 3 times, but I need you to do this. When I say go, I want this side of the room, group 1, to scream out as loud as you can, impossible. I want this side of the room to scream out as loud as you can, I am possible. Do we all have the instructions correct? Do I need to go over them? Okay, we got it. Here we go.
What group am I with, Andy?
Oh, 2.
Oh, sorry.
You're over here. That's all right. All right, you are the possible group. I am possible. Okay, here we go. Everybody, nice and loud. I don't want anybody holding back. 1, 2, 3, go.
Impossible! I am possible! Impossible! I am possible! Impossible! I am possible!
Now here's what happened. The first time you started screaming out, impossible, you were nice and loud. And these guys, I'm not too sure about this. I didn't like this. Second time, wait a minute, you were not quite as loud. Second time here, you got a little bit more confident. And you got into it. The third time, you were definitely not as loud as the second time. The third time here, you guys were really loud. What does that prove? We can play the same trick with our minds. And anytime you hear the word or you have the audacity to say to yourself, impossible, scream out. I am possible. Now, don't do this in public. But just do it in your own head. And that will allow you to achieve and to attain anything that you want at any given time. Because I am possible. That type of passion leads to success. So here's what I'd like everybody to do. Write down in your private memoirs 3 things you have always said to yourself, it's impossible. I'll never get it done. Write down 3 things. And there's always something. There's always something. Write it down.
Possible for me to be 6 foot.
Because we're going to work on a way to turn that not only into possibilities, but into realities. Not only into impossibilities or possibilities, but into reality. And here's how we're going to do it. What is motivation? Anybody know what motivation is? Yeah.
Motivation is a passion towards something.
Okay, good start. Passion towards something, yes.
Kind of an incentive as far as what keeps us moving forward.
Okay, keeps moving forward, an incentive, good. Any examples of an incentive?
Well, usually most people think of money, but it's...
Oh yeah, money is
Money comes to the top.
perceived to be the biggest motivator, but it isn't.
Good.
Because the more money people have, this has been proven, their level of happiness goes down. Do you know that the United States of America, with all its wealth, ranks one of the lowest in the happiness index of any country on this planet? You know who the most depressed people on this planet are?
The most what?
Depressed people, and the U.S. are second, by the way. The most depressed country in this planet? France.
Really?
Yeah, with all their cockamamie drinks and lovemaking and whatever. They are the... It's true, I'm not making it up. Huh?
Remember, this is on tape.
Hey, I understand. No, these are facts. I'm not making it up. They
I
are.
know.
They are. They are the worst in the happiness index. Care to guess which 2 countries are the top in the happiness index?
Got it.
Denmark.
Denmark, okay.
Sweden.
Nope.
Cuba.
Nope. You ready for this? Vietnam,
Wow.
Jamaica,
There you go.
and Costa Rica.
Wow.
And by the way, Jamaica ranks as one of the poorest countries on the planet.
It's the rum.
Whatever. I'm not debating
Go
how
on,
they got
Nancy.
there. But Costa Rica certainly doesn't have that reputation, and we know Vietnam doesn't have that
No.
reputation either. So money is perceived to be the biggest motivator, but it really isn't.
Good.
It really isn't. So what is motivation? Let's take a look at it. Number 1, I'm going to break up the English language again for a moment. I'm going to take the word motive. Everything that you just wrote down has now become your motive, which means your goal. If at one time you thought it was impossible, we're not going to turn it into possibilities. We're going to turn it into realities. And I'm not going to look what you wrote down because this is your own personal business, and I'm not going to ask you to describe it in public either. But these are yours. These are the motives that you're going to be going after. And then the question becomes, what is your plan of action? How are you going to get it done? Which, when you put it all together, it becomes motive action, also known as motivation. If it's a goal, you've got passion. If it's a goal, it's a desire. If it's a goal, you know it's good for you. But what is the action steps that you need to take? And by the way, there are 2 types of action steps. The first one is what you need to do. And I'll help you out with the second one. Does anybody have a calendar handy for a moment? Or something on their cell phone? Because I want to look up the most popular day in a person's life, and I want to find out when it comes next. You got it? Okay. Could you let me know, please, on the calendar, you can look it up, the next time someday appears on the calendar? No, someday, S-O-M-E-D-A-Y, someday. It's not on the calendar, is it? But what is the most popular day in a person's life?
Tomorrow.
Someday. Hey, you know what? This stuff looks good on a piece of paper. This guy's okay. He's talking to me about action plans. Someday I'll get to it. But someday never appears on the calendar, so guess what? You never make it there, do you? It just doesn't happen. So I want you to eliminate the word someday from your vocabulary. And next to those motives, I want you to write 3 action steps that you're going to take. And I want you to write the dates that you're going to do them. And then I want you to go to a notary public and have it notarized. No, you're not happy about that part, are you? Why? Because that means you made a commitment. Oh my gosh, if we make commitments to do something, do you know what great things will happen? Yeah, so write down for a moment. And if you don't get a chance to finish it tonight, you can do it at home. Write down the 3 action steps, but I want dates next to those. And I want you to really perceive that you are going to go to a notary public, have them sign it, and get a witness. Because you know what that means? That means you're committed. That means you no longer believe in someday. That means you actually believe in yourself. And when you do those, I want you to think about putting new and creative ideas into your box, which is your brains, covering up what you've already achieved, and add to it. And I want you to think about the 3 eggs any style, how that's going to add variety and flavor to your life, how you're going to think about things that are totally different. Because what you've done up to this date has made you who you are, which is all good, by the way. And then what you're going to be doing from this moment on in your future time travel that you're in control of will make you who you want to be. In your terms, not anybody else's. And by the way, if you show this to a loved one and they say impossible, what are you going to say? Yeah. I don't feel that passion. I'm going to try that again. If they say to you, it's impossible, what are you going to say?
Impossible.
Yeah. And you're going to show them how it's done. That's what you're going to do. That's what motivation is. Sometimes people say motivation is a burst of energy to achieve a goal that disappears. When the slogan is forgotten, the motivator leaves the stage, or it's time to take a nap. We lose it. There are some that say motivation is the constant reminder of the importance of achieving a goal through pep talks. My God, Mike, you are so great. I'm so happy with everything you've done in your life. You are a marvelous individual. That pep talk will last about 5 seconds. Rallies, energized music, periodical awards, handshakes, backslaps provided by the leader. Yeah, that's encouragement. But it doesn't last very long. We all seek it. We all want it. We should give it to our children. We should give it to our loved ones. But that's not motivation. Motivation really is a passion, but I'm going to change the word a little bit. Motivation is an inner energy by each individual member of the team and increases in intensity and excitement as each team member achieves its goal. It could be your family or yourself, and it gets closer to being completed. Let me tell you about motivation. One time I was on a cruise with Carol, and I like to play table tennis. It's one of my favorite games. I got to admit, I'm pretty darn good at it. I'm not egotistical, just factual. So there is a headline or a banner that says the following: Adult Table Tennis Tournament. I'm cool with that. I go up. I return about 5 minutes later with my gold medal. Now, why 5 minutes? Because only one other person competed. And he wasn't very good. So, hey, I won. I played by the rules. I feel pretty good. The next day, same sign. Adult table tennis tournament. Boom. I go up there again. An hour and a half later, I return with my second gold medal. Yeah. I'm running around the ship with my 2 gold medals. I have my shirt on, so I'm not like Mark Spitz. And I'm pretty happy. But then, there he was. Have you heard the story? There he was, the 6th grader. He was on another table. And by the way, when I won, I beat 11 other people, but he was on the table. He was slaughtering everybody, killing it. In table tennis, you play 21 points. Here's what the scores were: 21-3, 21-2, 21-4, 21-6, 21-0. And this smug, Sixth grader, he had the ego problem. He enjoyed every minute. Every time somebody left that table crying, he felt good. Well, there I come up with my 2 gold medals. I'm ready to play. I lose. 21-16. I'm running around the ship and I say, yeah, I scored 16 points against that guy. Yahoo! Did a great job. And I stop dead in my tracks and I say, Andy, there's something wrong with you. Something psychologically demented. You're happy that you lost? That's not me. That night, after the show in the theater, Carol and I are in our room and she's reading a book for about 2 hours and I'm staring at the ceiling. And she said to me finally, Andy, what are you doing staring at the ceiling for 2 hours? I said, Carol, I'm going to play this kid again. I'm going to beat him. So there are 2 things that I'm doing right now. I'm going over my own motivational seminar. And number 2, I'm replaying in my mind every move that kid made, where he scored a point and where he lost. Because tomorrow, he's mine. Carol turns to me, and you've got to know her, and she says, aren't you taking this thing a little bit too seriously? I said, no. The next day, back on the water. There was no sign, but the kid was playing. And I heard a rumor that they were running out of tissue papers because everybody on board was crying because they couldn't beat the guy. There I go up to the table again. He looks at me. I look at him. He said to me, you again? I said,
Sure that kid's not from Jersey? No.
He actually was from Long Island.
Okay, that was close.
He said, you again? I said, yeah. And this time, you're going down. I'm not fibbing when I say there were 300 people surrounding us.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I'm not making this up. And we're playing. And it's tense. And at the end of the game, I won.
Of course.
Kid looks at me and says, that was a fluke, let's play again. I said, I could play you all day until the ship docks. Not even take a bathroom break, and I'll beat you every time. I played him again. I won. There is no greater pleasure than seeing a 6th grader cry. So why do I tell you this story? Because originally the odds were against it. The kid was good, and as I found out later, he won a lot of medals and a lot of awards. As the kid progressed, I understand that his father was in fact a high school basketball coach.
Oh, wow.
So he got all his mental conditioning from his daddy. The problem is he didn't realize that half the game, if not more, is all mental. It's also somewhat physical, but it's mental. Each and every one of us has had this type of challenge in our life. Each and every one of us has lost in that challenge. Each and every one of us has probably walked away feeling like they are a loser. And at that point, you're right. But does that mean you give up? Heck no.
So you can use it with golf too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Use it with golf. You know, a quick story. I'm going to divert from
Discipline yourself. and
one
that's
of my
nice.
first ever motivational speeches was when I was with Nashua Corporation. I was with them for 23 years. And I always wanted to do motivational speaking. We had a golfer as part of the group who was fantastic. Nobody could beat him. And I went to my boss and I said, I want to have a motivational session with all the people that are going to play golf. And I guarantee you when they go out and play golf against this guy, each and every one of them will beat him. Whew. Wow. Okay, fine. So we had the thing. The great golfer was there and all the 5 other wannabes. And I did my thing. And they went out to the golf course. I don't play golf. But they went out to the golf course. It was the longest 3 or 4 hours, however long it takes in my life. They all come back and I said, how'd you do? Because I made a promise to them. Each and every one of them beat him. Now, what was the secret? All I did was demotivate and demoralize the good golfer. And I was just playing mind games with him, telling him that everybody will beat him, and showing them mentally on how to do it. And it weakened his mental stamina, and he lost. And boy, was he depressed. But yes, it works in golf, and it works in anything. And that's what motivation is about. Now, you might be saying, I can't do this. How do you know you can't do something? Someone help me out here. How do you know you can't do something that you haven't done before? Point number one, you never tried. Why didn't you try?
Fear of defeat.
Sure, fear of defeat. Absolutely. Good. What else?
Premonition.
Premonition. Sure. The visualization. Yes, someone else. Someone else. Why do you think you can't do something? Here are the most popular answers. Number one, someone told you.
That's
Number one answer if you ever played Family Feud.
yeah.
Someone told you you can't do it. And guess what you did? You believed them. How do you know, how do they know that you can't do it? What they're really telling you is they can't do it. Because they can't do it, they don't want to see you succeed. That's all. Simple as that. Number two on the answer. Did you hear or see someone fail? How many of us want to go parachuting? 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4. More than most. Most people don't because they hear of this one guy or gal that splattered, whose chute didn't open, and they died.
Is that like what you're saying is like crabs in the bucket?
Define that for me, please.
Well, you're the crabs in the bucket and everything, and then trying to get out, and the other guys are saying, well, why are you getting out? And you're trying to get out, but they all crawl on you,
Yeah.
and you back down.
Yeah, exactly right. Very good analogy. Thank you. Very good analogy. Exactly right. And you know what the old story is? Did you hear or see someone fail? Yeah, but it wasn't you. I want people to hear about your success. I want people to talk to themselves about you and to others about how successful you became. Did you talk yourself into it before you tried? Of course you did. That's why you didn't try. There's a very famous story out of Harvard. Here's the story. They took a basketball team, the Harvard basketball team, forget about whether they're good or not, and they took them onto a basketball court for 2 weeks, true story documented. And for 2 weeks, for 2 hours a day, they told them to shoot foul shots. That's it, take the foul shots. That was it. They took another group of people that never played basketball in their lives, and they put them into a room like this, 5 of them. And they showed them a video how to take foul shots. Okay? I haven't seen the video, but this is documented. And what they told them is they want them to return to this very room for 2 weeks, 2 hours a day, and visualize making foul shots. They didn't even show them the movie. 2 weeks ended. They went down to the court. The people that never played were on the left side. The people that played were on the right side. And they had 2 hours to do foul shots. Which team do you think succeeded or scored more points?
The one that visualized.
The one that visualized. And the experiment has been done time and time and time again. The one that visualized being successful were the ones that became successful. And the other great story, and we all know this, you go to someone and say, I'm going to try this. You know what they say to you? You know what? I know somebody that tried it. And here's what they're really saying. They know somebody, their neighbor, has a sister that lives in Atlanta, has a neighbor that recently moved in from Decatur, who knew somebody in school that tried it and failed. 6 degrees of separation. And because that person failed, therefore you will fail. And guess what? You believe them. Here's the part about I can't do it. It's not that you can't do it, you just haven't done it yet. That's all. On your things that you wrote down about being impossible, I don't want you to think about the fact that you can't do it. You just think about the fact that I haven't done it yet. And I want you to list things in your life that you now have a second nature for. For example, I'm going to age myself for a minute. How many of us used typewriters in the past? Well, I guess I'm not going to age myself. Welcome. I am a card-carrying member of AARP. When the computer came out, and we had to get rid of our typewriter, how did we feel? Yeah, lost, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh no, right? We probably even said it's impossible, I can't do this. Leave me alone, I'm in my comfort zone. I know how to use a typewriter. I love using carbon paper. I love using whiteout. I love it. Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing. Don't change me, don't bother me. How many of us would go back to a typewriter today? No, how many of us are capable of teaching others how to do what we know how to do? Just about every one of us. It's not that we can't do, we just haven't done it yet. And it's the same thing for everything that you just put down on your list. It becomes that important. Did you talk your way to success? So if I was to ask you, how's life? What's your answer?
Great.
I got one great. What else?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Good or bad?
Unbelievably good.
Good. Okay. We've got two answers. Let's see if some of the others are up on the board. It's okay. Yeah, I'm getting through it. It's all right. It's tolerable. Nothing bad. I'm all right. It's not bad. The minute you say it's not bad, bad in itself is a negative word.
Right.
So you've destroyed it to begin with. So never say it's not bad. Never say it's okay. Oh, considering everything, it's as good as it can be. It's not too bad. Because it allows you to enter into the equation things that have happened. But you know, in spite of everything, it's as good as it can be. Or excellent. What's wrong with that? Are we alive? You bet. It's a wonderful thing to be alive. It's a wonderful thing to be on this planet. Even with all its problems, it's okay. It's wonderful. You know what's interesting, when we talk about life, how many people say to somebody else, well, consider the alternative.
Yeah.
And then at a funeral, what do they say? Well, he's in a better place. I don't get it. But excellent. That's what I want everybody to say. I don't care if you work on that. Because if you think it's excellent, it will be. If you think it's miserable, it will be. How can I prove it? You proved it to yourself a while ago when each one of you earned a certificate in motivational speaking. In 1 minute. One easy lesson. Let's talk about how good we really are. I need 3 volunteers, please. 1, 2, I knew that, 3. I could have predicted it in advance. Please go up against the wall.
Up against the wall.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Stop the camera.
All right. Very good. Up again. Thank you very much. Now,
Sandwich him in?
huh?
I said, we'll sandwich in there.
That's all right. That's fine. Lucky guy. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do, please, I want you to turn around. Face the wall. And some of you got experience. I can see that. Now, take either your right hand or your left hand, the one you feel most comfortable with, and place it up against the wall. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Now what I'd like you to do is raise it 1 inch. Good. Now the last part I want you to do is raise it up against the wall as high as you possibly can.
Oh!
He's good. He's good. He's good. All right, that's good. He's got it. He's got it. And for the rest of you ladies, you can go on your tippy toes. I'm taking share whatever you want, but that's okay. And you can put it down. So here's a question. Almost had it, sir. Here, and you almost had it the first time, but you held back. You almost had it. I was watching you. And you can turn around, by the way. When I say place your hand up against the wall, you did a very nice job. When I say raise it by 1 inch, that's all you did. You didn't go any further. Some of you looked at the other person to make sure they didn't go over 1 inch, to make sure that you don't go over 1 inch. Little competition.
I was making sure that I was on top of it.
Yeah, I know that. Of course, you're told. And place it up as high as you can. Here's my question. The very first time that I said, place your hand up against the wall, the one you feel most comfortable with, why didn't you take the chair the first time and go up as high as you possibly can?
Because yes, I'm confident.
Okay. Right. And I also planted a word. And I said, whichever hand you feel more comfortable with. So I put you in a comfort zone, right hand or left hand. I put you in a psychological comfort zone. The key point here is anytime that you do something, anytime, this is your comfort zone. When I tell you to raise it 1 inch, I'm telling you who you are. I have no right to do that. You have the right to say, hey, if you want me to raise it 1 inch, I'm darn capable of doing more than that. This, when you get on the chair, is your potential. Anytime you do something in life, never do your comfort zone. Never do what somebody else sets as your limit. Go up as high as you possibly can, each and every time. And once you're there, you can get phone books or anything else, assuming the ceiling is there. Not there, to go ahead and go up as high as you possibly can. Get out of your comfort zone. Measure your potential. Go as high as you possibly can, each and every time. Thank you so much, and applause. Now, with the exception of these 3 in this room, I hate to tell you this, it's going to put a damper, The rest of us failed the test because we were not willing to take a risk. When I said, hey, I need volunteers, I kind of knew in advance which 3 were going to volunteer. But why didn't each and every one of us raise our hands to take a risk? We're not going to get anywhere in life if we don't take risks. And what is the worst thing that could have happened to you?
Be embarrassed.
Yeah. Of what? Nothing. It's all perceived. Disaster is perceived. So is success. The one that you choose defines who you are. Remember, putting new and creative ideas into the box, thus covering up the status quo. This is your comfort zone, who you are. This is your potential. This is how high you should be going in your life each and every time. By the way, what individual has a right to set your limits? No. Do you have a right to set your limits? Nope. Trick question. Why should you set a limit to begin with?
You have to have some structure in your life. Come on now.
Okay, define it for me. Meaning?
Boundaries.
Define boundaries as you see them.
When it starts to affect other people.
Negatively. Yeah, if you're hurting other people or something unethical or criminal, absolutely no debate through that whatsoever.
Fair enough.
No debate went through that, which is why I probed. No debate through that whatsoever. But aside from that limitation, where it affects negatively other people, either ethically or criminally, put that aside, then you have no right to set a limit because basically there are none. The limits are the ones that you set. And you have no right to set a limit on of yourself because there is none. There was a study done that said no, 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 no. How many times between a person from the time they're born to the time they're 18 do you think they've been told no?
A lot.
Yeah, 250,000 times.
Wow.
Higher than that.
200, now they studied this. 250,000 times you have either told your kids, or you believe it, or your parents told you no, 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 no. Which, by the way, when I asked for volunteers, why nobody volunteered? You were told no. Can't do it, don't do it, shouldn't do it, and can't be done. You're not old enough, you're not ready enough, you're not smart enough, you aren't prepared for it, blah, blah, blah. The heck with that. Throw it out of your life. And don't do it to your kids anymore. Don't tell them, unless it's something dangerous. Don't do it. Tell them to go away. No wonder we take little risks, lack self-esteem, and lack self-confidence. Because you have your certificate in motivational speaking, you now know to always think positive, to always think bright, to always think about your positive future. You proved it before. You proved that you were able to take yourself out of a miserable mind that it put you in, and in 1 second tell you to think about great thoughts, and you all did a tremendous job. From this moment on, if anybody says no, get them out of your life. They serve you no good with the exception of one purpose. The minute they say no, you respond, just watch me. And that's it. Because in life there are 2 types of goals. There's the negative goal. We all do this. I just want to pass. How many of us went to an exam in high school or college and said, all I want to do today is pass? Guess what? That's what you did. How many of us said, all I want to do is meet her, not embarrass myself? Someone mentioned that earlier. Don't get fired. How many of us go to work every day? I know I did. Well, the only thing I want to do today is make sure I don't get fired. Negative goal. Positive goal. Do my best, be my best, do better than anybody else, advance my business or career, and have a great house. Never think negatively. There's 2 ways to be a public speaker. Number 1, you walk up to the podium and say, the one thing I don't want to do today is embarrass myself. And guess what? You won't do a great speech either. But if you go up and you say, I know my material, people are here to listen to me, I feel good about what I have to say, I want to have them feel as good as I do, that's a positive goal, and that's what will make it. Let's scratch through this one for a moment and go through one more thing. How many of us think today that we are morning people? How many of us are morning people? And how many of us are evening people? Now I'm going to talk to the evening people. The morning people you can listen in. So, it's good, it's all good. So basically, what I'm hearing here, at the end of the day, you're tired, you want to go to bed, which is fine, that's an evening person. I'm sorry, evening person, I'm sorry, evening person, you like to do things in the evening, so you're not a morning person. I'll scratch that, and I'll just turn it around. So, for example, let's say, for example, you win a trip to Europe, but you have to be at Eppley Airport at 4:30 in the morning to catch the 6 o'clock flight. And that's the only condition of your trip. The rest of it's free. You gonna turn down that trip?
I don't really like to
Just say yes. You can just say yes. Come on,
I
Mary.
didn't see it coming.
I'm a morning person.
But let's say you are a traveler.
You would have said the Holy Land. I would have said yes.
Okay, I got it. I'll change the story. So if you want a trip to the Holy Land,
There. All right, now you have another chance.
if you want a trip to the Holy Land, but the only condition is, and it was free, and it was 10 days all paid,
Oh my.
and it was first class.
Ooh.
But the only condition is you had to be at the airport at 4:30 in the morning, which means you had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and be at there at 4:30. Would you take that trip?
Yeah, I wouldn't even sleep.
Okay. You'll find a way around it. So that means something that you're passionate about. You forget about this mantra that you put on yourself that I'm a morning and evening person. To the evening people, or the morning people who are tired in the evening, if someone calls you up at 8 o'clock at night and say, hey, let's go to this great party, if that's what you like to do, or let's go to this great concert, or let's do this, that, and the other, something you like to do, something you love to do, would you tell that person, no, don't bother me, it's 8 o'clock at night, I don't like to do things after 8 if it's something you really like to do? Of course not. Hey, I'm going to go right away. You disband and disavow your morning and evening personality. It's a bunch of malarkey. Once you find something that you're passionate in, it will work. And many of us say, hey, I need luck. You don't need luck at all. Forget luck. It doesn't fall into the equation. You make it happen, just like we talked about before. You're the one that takes charge. You're the one that gets up in the morning and says, I am capable of doing anything I want. I am capable of going to the restaurant and ordering 3 eggs any style. I am capable of putting new and creative ideas into the box, thus covering up the status quo. I am capable of going up to the highest level of my potential every time that I do something. I am capable of telling somebody when they tell me impossible, I refer back, I am possible. It's not that I can't do it, I just haven't done it yet. That's taking charge. That's becoming the type of person that you are. I'm going to end with this little picture here. This was taken back in about 5-6 years ago. This should be 2006. There we go. This is the Dean of the UNO Chancellor Emeritus of UNO. Rick Sheehy, Lieutenant Governor, State of Nebraska. Stephen, yeah, I know I got it was there. Steve Martin, President and CEO, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Nebraska. Here I am, Andy Greenberg, Director of Marketing, James Skinner Baking Company, with these esteemed individuals in the Alumni Magazine of Nebraska UNO. Why? Because I did a little conference on leadership. I was so happy when I saw this magazine. I was going to bring it home to Carol, my wife, put it on the table, and say, Carol, I made it. I'm in a picture with these guys. I drove home, opened up the door. Carol was there. She greeted me with a great big hug, asked me how my day was. I was so excited about this picture. I say, sit down, I want to show you something. I show her this magazine. You know what I tell her? I said, Carol, at this very moment, Dale Weber, Rick Sheehy, and Steve Martin are sitting with their wives. You know what they're telling their wives? She said, what? Honey, I made it. I'm in a picture with Andy Greenberg. Why the story? There's only one person in this world that can intimidate you. You know who that is? Nope.
Somebody said your wife. Oh, man.
Okay. I have a remedial marriage course. We'll talk about that. Just kidding.
So is mine, pal.
There is only one person in this world that can intimidate you. You know who that is? No. The person that you allow to intimidate you.
Oh.
That's true.
The story I told just a moment ago had nothing to do with ego. But originally I'm thinking, all right, this guy's better than me. My gosh, Chancellor Emeritus. I'm intimidated by this guy. Oh my gosh, Lieutenant Governor, State of Nebraska? Up until recently, a very esteemed individual. And Blue Cross Blue Shield of Nebraska, how could I possibly rank with those guys? That is me talking about other people intimidating me because in my head I perceive them to be better than me, but that was false. They were in a picture with me. And they should be darn proud of it. Egotistical? No, not really. Because if we begin to think of ourselves this way, there is nobody in this world that And that means when you go to a job interview and you're talking to that hiring person or you're talking to the decision maker, and you walk in there and this person just might be out of Gentleman's Quarterly, or on his frame he says, "I am the 4th best dressed in Omaha, Nebraska." Don't let that intimidate you. Because there is nobody, not one single soul, who's better than you. Not one. Nobody. And when you know that, not believe it, there's a difference. When you know that, you walk into that job interview, you look confident, you look self-esteem. They will look at you and they will say instantaneously, "This is the person I want in my organization. This person has self-esteem. This person has self-confidence. This person has a history of making things happen. This person, I know when I go out to breakfast with them, they will order 2 fried and 1 scrambled because I'm looking for someone to shake things up and scramble things up in my company. I'm not looking for people that do everything the same. I'm looking for that individual who will add something to my life, and that's you. You walk into that job interview and you visualize them offering you that job at the salary you deserve. You'll get it. Because after I lost my first job, I went around telling everybody the second job I get, I'm going to have a 15% increase in pay. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they laughed at me. Guess what I got when I got my next job? 15% increase in pay. You know why? I asked for it. I asked for it. And by the way, I want to go back to that doctor thing. When I was hanging upside down from the ankles and the doctor slapped me, he didn't say successful and the next person non-successful. No way, that was me creating my own life. And that's you. And that's what motivating your mind for a better life. One more thing. This is really the best thing. And it capsulizes everything. When you think of the word warrior, what do you think of?
Powerful.
Powerful. Someone else. Brave. Someone else. Determined. Someone else.
Fearless.
Fearless. Someone else.
Strong.
Strong. One more.
Not intimidating.
Not intimidated. Perfect. Every time that you were thinking of a characteristic of a warrior, were you thinking about a cartoon character? Were you thinking about a TV character or a movie character? You shouldn't do that.
I was thinking about me.
That's it right there.
I was.
That's it right there. Because a warrior is one who is engaged in or experienced in battle. A warrior is one who engaged aggressively or energetically in an activity, cause, or conflict. When you thought of a definition, did you think about another person or yourself? What I want you to do, from now on, is visualize you as the warrior. You're the brave one. You're the one that's out there. You're the one that's determined. You're the one that's a fighter. You're the one that will have energy in any activity, cause, or conflict that you want. In anything. Someone says to you, "I know we're a warrior," you raise your hand and you say, "That's me." When you wake up in the morning and you look yourself in the mirror, the reflection you see back is that of a warrior. That individual who will conquer the day, conquer life, and get everything that you deserve from the moment you wake up until the moment you fall asleep. My name is Andy Greenberg. Thank you very much.
Andy,
Any questions?
well, tell us about your book too, where we can get it from, please.
Well, the book is called You're High. It's